This episode has been brought to you by Printable 3D. So, Printable 3D are a UK-based company that make a range of bowling products, including these little pin buddies and customizable ball spinners. Now, these are super solid, super tough. You can have your name or your logo included within them, and they are available now on Printable 3D's website, printable3d.co.uk. So, huge thank you to Printable 3D for supporting this episode of the No Strings Attached podcast, and we're now going to get straight into the episode. Enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to the No Strings Attached podcast with Tristan and Mark. This week we have another very special guest. He is a multi-time Bowlers Journal Top 100 coach. He was the first USBC Gold qualified coach in England and still the only one, I believe. He was the second EBF Level 3 coach.
Oh, I wonder who was the first.
I knew you'd like that one.
So this is why I'm sitting in the middle of you two.
And EBF Level 1, Level 2 instructor. He's been a pro shop operator for over 35 years. He's bowled at a high level, competed for England, even though it's on the wrong side of the lane. And he's recently been inducted into the UK Hall of Fame for his distinguished service to our sport. He is the one and only Andy Penny.
Wow, thank you. What an intro. Thank you.
Welcome, Andy. It's the nicest thing I've ever said about you.
Yeah. True. Wow.
So
where are we starting?
where do we begin? Tell us how it started. We might as well start at the beginning.
Yeah, I have to say the presentation that Lobbers did on the night at the senior do was very special, and when I thanked him for it, he said, "Oh well, Basher had a lot to do with it as well." So between them, they delved into the past. But the one story they told was absolutely true. The mechanic at Stevenage, he wanted a ball. I think he had I think it was an ultra angle. He got something from AMF, got an ultra angle, got to deal with them, and he didn't drive. And he said, "Will you take me over to Aylesbury to get the ball drilled?" And I did, and I walked in, and exactly that. Bernie said, "Do you know anybody that wants to buy a pro shop?" And I'll do that. And 3 weeks later, we were back at Stevenage with the junior nationals.
Yeah.
And selling 50 balls in that first weekend, I thought, big fat cigar, this is it, this is dead easy. Little did I know it was going to be a little harder than that throughout the years. But yeah, that was it. That's how it started.
Wow. So that's your pro shop. How did you get into bowling?
So, my friend, we used to, the bowling centre, the bowling alley was the place to go to meet everybody, meet your group. I don't want to call them gangs, but meet your friends before you go to the other places in the town. And one of my friends, his mum worked in the bowl. So we got cheap bowling when I was maybe 14, 15. Mm-hmm. And we got cheap bowling. And so that was how I started. And then when I went to college to do my toolmaker and mould maker engineering apprenticeship, we started bowling in the lunchtime with a few of us, and then there was a guy who came in and he said, "Oh, you guys are pretty good, you want to play in a league?" So we started in a league on Friday night, and I remember my first series in a league was 485. I had three 160s, which was amazing because I was averaging about 130 at the time. So and then I started with no handicap or something like that the first week. So that was the start of it.
Yeah.
And then it went on from there. So that would have been 76, I would say. Yeah, college.
1976.
75, 76. That's when I left school and went to college. So 76 would have been that year, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah, that was
last time Southampton won a trophy in football. Good year.
Kirsten was born.
Just to go off on there. Yeah.
Kirsten was born that year, so that was a good year as well.
There we go. Yeah. I'm going to just blow smoke up your arse for a little bit.
Oh,
we can cut that
out.
So I want you to tell us, so if I remember rightly, because you have told me this a little bit, you were the first officially ranked #1 player in England.
Yes, you do remember it rightly. I may have told you it once or twice.
Just once or
and you know,
twice.
I did it as an icebreaker and a joke. It really was. But okay, so that was Team Britain. That was the first when Team Britain was formed, and those tournaments were good. You know, you had a 10-game qualifier, and then you had a 16-man round robin.
Yeah.
You know, there were 26 games. You know, you were
tested.
Yes, you were tested, and that was when that centre became known as a left-handers paradise. So that first tournament.
Which centre?
Yeah, Bushbury. Sorry, yeah, well done. Yeah, I was going to forget it, but I remembered it. Ooh, that's the first recall. Well done. So it was funny. The first 10 games, there was I think 9 left-handers at the top, and I was probably about 8th or something then. And then the rest were right-handers, 7 right-handers. Then in the round robin, I had to beat Ron Oldfield with the win bonus to win the event. And we both had 2 40s, and I beat him by 1 or 2 pins and got the 20 bonus and won the tournament. And then I was top, and then it was the other 7 right-handers, and then all the other lefties didn't actually break 200 in the final, and I averaged 228 or something.
Yeah.
I remember Malcolm Glover did a presentation, got all the facts, you know, on the old computer paper, you know, where you tear the holes off it. He presented me with this thing later on, and that's why I know all of those details. And yeah, it was Bushbury became the left-handers paradise, which was a bit unfair.
I think a lot of centres at that time did.
Yeah, they would.
Nottingham particularly.
Yeah, sure. Oh,
But,
yeah, sure, yeah.
Lots of reasons probably for that.
Yeah.
So as a player, Andy, what is your biggest standout memory? Is it that, or is it something else?
That probably, I would suggest that was probably, the biggest win. Standout memory as a player, I remember winning something for the first time. I won something at Peterborough. That was that was only like a 6 or a. Oh, I've won that. Oh, that's handy. At least I can win.
Yeah.
I won something at Blackpool as well, because Lobbers was asking me about when he was doing the presentation. He said, "Well, I can only find one win for you." And I said, "Well, was it this?" He said, "No." And I said, "Was it this?" "No." And was it that? But I guess, especially when Kirsten won the women's, and the fact that it was, top of the rankings for, because she played one tournament, you're top of the rankings. Although I did hold on for a little while. It was for the first 3 months. I think I was still the #1 ranked player.
You didn't have another tournament for another 3 months.
No, there was a couple. So, as a player, I can tell you my worst, and it didn't come to light until a long time afterwards. So that was the year 94, was the year that we were qualifying for the 95 World Championships. And on overall performance, I was second in the rankings in playing over the 2 wooden tournaments and synthetic tournaments. Chris told me maybe 10 years later, he said, "Oh, you nearly made the team in 95.
Chris Buck.
Chris Buck, yeah. And I, "What do you mean?" He said, "Yeah, you were second overall, but you didn't play well enough on the wooden lanes to get picked for the top 6 when we're playing on synthetic in Reno." Yeah.
Wow.
That was a strange decision. Yeah, and then to tell me 10 years later, when we were working together for Team England, or maybe even 15 years later. Yeah, very strange. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you nearly made that.
And here we
I
are.
didn't even know I was close.
Wow.
Well, I would have thought I was close, but I didn't even. I just accepted it.
Wasn't expected or
No, that's right. And I mean, it really. I'm thinking about it now. Then that was probably the start of me realising that that if I didn't make it then I probably wasn't going to make Team England, and other things. Life gets in the way, and you have a family to bring up. So yeah.
Interesting. So, did you have any influences in your bowling career in terms of as a player and an athlete? Because you know, I remember sort of growing up in the 90s and then looking up to some serious players in those years. So who inspired you?
I mean, I think really my peers then at the time, meeting Simon again at I haven't met him for years, but Simon Brown, really it was Simon and I who was, you know, you were always going to get who's the best lefty.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was between us, and then this whippersnapper came along, Paul Moore. And, he got in there, got into the equation above us all. Yeah, so bowlers, I mean, we didn't get to see, there wasn't too much coverage of the PBA, and started to happen in the 90s, but you only saw it in pictures of them in magazines, and you really didn't see, like you see now, videos and stuff like that. I mean,
there's bits on Eurosport and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. It started, so you saw them.
Yeah,
I mean, who did I think of?
Videotapes, to be clear, not just videos on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, cassettes. Yeah.
Do the rounds.
So, I mean, I met a lot of people, but I don't know. I can't honestly say, oh yeah, that was the person that's who I wanted to be. I mean, of course, you wanted to be Earl Anthony, but yeah, I really no. I can't recall ever looking at a particular player. I mean, just all the lefties. I followed them. I mean, I'd love to have been Steve Cook, I guess. Hooking it, half the lane. I would have liked to have hooked it half the lane anyway. Yeah. So no, I can't. Honestly, I can't think of a. I might come back to that, but I really can't think of someone that I wanted to emulate in that respect.
So when you were playing in the 90s, who were the players that you when you turned up at an event, who were the players that you thought, oh God, right, I've got to, we got to beat him and her?
Yeah,
and
it would definitely be the Bucks. It was Jeff and Chris and Kevin Hills. Yeah. Oh, there was
Phil.
Oh, yeah, Scam, of course. Yeah. 'Cause that was in the middle of the two eras. Then the older guys were fading a bit, but they'd had their time, and then the newer guys, as I've said, Simon, Phil, Kevin Hills, Graham Bottin,
Team Altair players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lumpy. Yeah.
No one else.
Who are you thinking? I can't.
No. I don't know.
No, there was just. I mean, anybody that was around at the time, they were all very good players, and they all went on to play for England. Yeah, I can't name any more, but there was definitely all the international players that used to come over for the British Open as well. And my roots were my coaching roots were Swedish anyway, because of Kirsten's connection and Joran, my what can I surrogate father is not but my he was definitely my bowling father for sure. Yeah, Bergendorf. Yeah, Joran Bergendorf, definitely my bowling father.
So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the Swedish connection. Obviously.
Yes, you would be. Yeah, you would be. Yeah. So,
Tristan, I love Sweden, Hinchcliffe.
Yeah. Judy Howlett. She, Kirsten was a promising bowler, in the late 80s, and we could see, and she really got to the end of my knowledge of where to take her. And Judy Howlett said, "Oh, there's this Swedish guy coming over to do a course," and she'd already looked outside of England for, she was castigated for that as well, or not using an English coach, and she went to see Joran, and he turned her from being a backup bowler onto a forehand. Oh, wow. And so he said, "Oh, you should take Kirsten along," and it was very close to the time, and he had a space, and he watched Kirsten, and he said that at her age, I think she was 12 at the time, 76, getting on, 13. He said she was a better player than Åsa Larsson at that age. And, when you think how good Åsa Larsson was, or became, and it was just a shock to know. We thought she was good, but, when somebody of that standing. Yeah. And so I said, well, can we coach, can you coach her? And he said, yeah, sure. So we went to Sweden a few times, and then because I was working, I couldn't take her all the time. Neil Webb and his mate at the time, they were going to Sweden a lot to learn from Joran, and so they used to take Kirsten, and they'd go for weeks at a time, for training and coaching. They'd live in the bowling centre, they'd be cooking their breakfast in the bowling centre, sleeping in the bowling centre, sleeping on sleeping bags and stuff like that. They'd just afford the flight to get there, and then that was where her training was. And I went a few times to be coached in coaching by Joran. So that was the start of that.
So where did you go from there? What did you go straight into USBC qualifications, or did you do some Swedish stuff, or was it just knowledge from? Yeah,
it was just knowledge from. I just travelled around. So what are we talking then? Because
I remember we've had a previous conversation about coaching and how Kirsten really was kind of the reason why you went off to do these other courses and qualifications, because she was progressing so much quicker than you in terms of knowledge at that point.
Before that, Shirley was that was another motivation, because Shirley was actually a really good player, very good, but because we had the children, she was never able to pursue it. But I remember at the time when I was averaging, it's always good to get 190 average at the time if you're averaging 190. So I'm in the mid 190s. And, if women were averaging over 180, within 10 pins, they were, and Shirley was averaging 187 or something like that. She was catching me up fast. So, I'm thinking I've got to do something here. And then, Kirsten as well. So, that was the motivation, was to, and as soon as I started with the coach, really probably, looking into it in greater detail, that was becoming the end of my career as well anyway, because I couldn't work. I couldn't bowl at the level I wanted to bowl at. In the mid-90s, I couldn't train and practice at the level I needed to do. Couldn't put the time in because I had to work. Yeah. And even working in the shop, you think, it's dead easy. You can just walk off the lane and go, walk off out of the shop and onto a lane and bowl. And, after a long day in the shop, the last thing you want to do is pick a ball up and bowl, unfortunately. So I would say the start of the end of my career was the start of me going into the pro shop business, because I'd never bowled as much, it seemed, in the shop when I had the shop as to before. So that was so 94, 95, and then just getting all that knowledge from Joran and the Swedish connection. 94, 95. What did I do then? Right. So that was the leading on. Where did I met Richard Shockley somewhere.
So he's
99. Richard Shockley. Yeah, he was a USBC Gold level. Just covered my mic there. Sorry, he was a USBC Gold level coach. So I went. So Kirsten, even then, in the late 90s, she was starting to do her stuff, and then in 99 in Abu Dhabi, when the Kegel first had the lane maintenance contract for the World Championships and the singles title that they did, the work, So anyway, I know Kirsten got into the step ladder final, and so she competed. So she was playing a step ladder match, and she qualified in second place. And she played Andrea, the German girl, left-hander, lost that match, and so she finished with a bronze medal. World Singles Championship in 99. That was in Abu Dhabi. And so all the medals that year were made out of the precious metal that you'd won. So the gold medal was gold, silver medal was silver, and Kirsten's bronze medal was bronze, bless her. And she qualified in silver anyway, bless her. So... And I met Richard there, and I'd seen about the USBC program, and so I started to go over to Kegel, Florida, to do the mentoring there, because I've always liked technology, and gadgets or whatever, because for me, it's the same for me. I need something to be proved to me. If something's proven, if you can prove to me, then I'll believe you. if you tell me about it and you haven't got any proof, I'm not going to believe you. So I thought that, through coaching, if I was able to prove to people, show them on the lane without me just saying it, then, they would be able to understand it better and see for themselves. And so that was really the route that I went with, because they were that was the forerunner to CATS. So they had a camera and they had this golf program. They had this golf program that videoed you as watching your golf swing, and they converted that into a bowling program. And so that was the start of me doing the USBC Silver Level.
When was that?
That was 2001.
Okay.
That's when I started that, and Richard was my mentor then. So I was going backwards and forwards to Florida for twice a year for a few years, and then
Not a bad life, is it?
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, when you talk about that now as well, I've been to 38 countries through bowling. In that, and I've probably been to more American states than most Americans, bowling wise. So yes, nice life. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've been very lucky.
All over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So remind us, what countries is it you've been head coach for? Is it 3, 4?
Yeah, Qatar. England, Qatar,
Norway.
Yeah, Norway. I nearly forgot about that. Norway. Yeah, I'm very proud of that with Norway. Actually, a certain Norwegian bowler was. Might want to cut this bit out. Yeah, I don't know if I can tell that story about Tora. But perhaps I won't.
So here's a question that I'm really, really interested to hear your opinion on. Right, you're a USBC Gold coach and an EBF Level 3 coach.
Yeah.
For the audience and everybody who's watching, because there's always a lot of opinions on which is better, what are the differences, what are the similarities. So in your opinion, Andy, as a Level 3 EBF coach and a USBC Gold, maybe share some of the biggest differences and pros
that's quite
and
funny
cons
because
for each.
Mark is involved in this, because you remember you went to the coaching seminar with Terry.
Yeah.
And I was there, the coaches symposium thing.
Texas,
And the first one of those, was that
2013?
Yeah, 2012, 2013. Yeah, 12 or 13. It must have been 13 because I was back from Qatar by then, and I was 2013.
Yeah.
And Terry said to me, which should we go for? Because at the time we were leaning towards USBC, and even though we were England, we weren't looking at the European thing.
Yeah.
But up until that year, I'd have said go with USBC, because their continued education for coaches was far beyond what anybody else was doing. But from 2009 and 10, 11, and it started to
peter out a bit.
It's petered out, and then they stopped doing it. And then, so the actual material from EBF was much more up to date. UHAR stuff. So I suggested then to Terry that England should go EBF, which you did, and that's your start of your story.
Yeah.
So at the time, for sure, USBC, it's everything. It didn't update as quickly as EBF. Let's put it that way. But then for a while EBF hasn't updated, and it has now.
Yeah.
There's circumstances that get in the way. But personally, I would have just thought that USBC. If I'm looking directly at the material that USBC produce, I can't see the bowlers that they produce from those textbooks. And then you work off the workbook anyway. This might be another clap moment, but you work off the USBC workbook. You don't work off the manuals. The manuals became dated. They didn't get updated, and then there's a workbook that you work from, USBC workbook. That's the new manual, but it's not published anywhere. But even then, I still can't look at that. I can look at, to a degree, I could look a bit more at EBF material and see, you know, an end result there. Couldn't see that at the time from USBC stuff.
Yeah, people ask me that question quite a lot, quite often. Obviously, as delivering EBF courses, and as a silver level course person.
Yeah.
The thing I end up sort of settling on, and it may not be everyone's opinion or point of view, is that USBC is very, very good at diagnosing the million brilliant bowlers that there are in the world and saying, well, they do that and that must be good, and they do that and they do that and they do that. Whereas EBF is a system that will produce bowler after bowler after bowler after bowler who will basically be very, very similar in their mechanics and much more like you teach golf. Golf is taught in a very standard, very consistent approach.
Yeah.
All PGA professionals are effectively taught in the same way to teach in the same basic way and with certain fundamental principles. And I think that's where EBF has been with their one-handed game.
But my answer to your question was what he said.
Yeah.
Exactly. I sort of outlined it, but that was, I could see a pathway with EBF that I couldn't see. And, the fantastic bowlers that they produce in America, and they do.
Despite the poor timing.
Yeah.
And the bad swing.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rubbish releases.
Yes, exactly. Everything.
Do you think that's down to more individual coaches rather than a strict process?
I think so.
USBC?
I think it's also, to a degree, we are led by players, and it goes back to what you said there. We're led by players. Players do things, and then coaches look at that. Oh, well, okay, that's what.
Which way round should it be? Should we be coach led or intelligent?
I think we're
the science behind movement rather than he does it and he's winning everything, so therefore we must build someone like that.
So the reason for my question ultimately was, as you know, I'm only EBF, right? So, for new players coming into the YBC, they get taught EBF from day dot because it's a end-to-end process, right? And that's great for that. But for me as a coach, looking at other players that are already established that want help and support with their game, I don't necessarily feel as though I'm going to be a good option for those players, because all I know is EBF and all I know is that process of how to deliver that material and help a player with their timing and their swing in EBF modern terms. So unless they want a complete rebuild, like we did with Olivia McCarthy, and you were very, very kind when you saw her bowl and what you said about her game, then that's where I'm that's my slot.
Right, I get it, yeah.
Whereas you guys have both got USBC knowledge and you can kind of take an existing player and maybe do some tweaks and improve somebody else's game without necessarily doing the kind of complete overhaul. So my interest in that question was kind of like, is there a potentially, are there still benefits for me maybe exploring a USBC route to be able to help more players?
I would.
Do you know what? I'm going to open that to both of you.
Well, I'll answer first then. Yeah.
It's your
Yeah.
So I'll cut Mark's out.
So, for sure, I think you just need to. My greatest influence was originally with the Swedish system, and then I studied every other coach that anybody that was anybody in coaching. I studied their method, so I would just say you'd have to be open to every method, and then also, you would have to be honest in your analysis of whether you can help someone or not. It's okay to say, well, actually, no, I don't think I can help that person. Because try, then send them to me. Or Mark.
Send them to me.
Yeah, Mark. I was just kidding. Yeah.
So I'll put both names in that.
Yeah. So and then and even then, it is down to the chemistry between players and coach anyway. And if the player buys into what you're presenting to them, so. But you just, my experience was to anybody and everybody, everyone. John Jowdy, our man, the scientist that was in Bowler's Journal, Tom Kouros. I sat with those people for hours on end and watched them, what they did, and that was my education in coaching, was to, when people said about the chances and the opportunities that I'd been given by Team England and Team Britain, right, okay, before that, there was a lot of money spent by me going to all these other coaches and sitting and listening and talking to them and understanding what they did and taking the best bits, from all of it. So I definitely would say have an open mind, and there is never only one way, and we are led by the first thing is that we're led by the environment. The players will find things to do in that environment, and then or coaches, but generally players. I do remember the American player Bill Hoffman. When you looked at his stance and you saw his start, and he was just completely out of line, but he did what he did to get his head. The ball under his head, and where are we now with that? Everybody.
He did well for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even in modern times, like Jacob Butler flicks.
Yeah, well, that's the point, is that you're going to get exceptions to every rule, aren't you? And we've often had this discussion, Mark, about if someone does something and they can repeat that action, then don't change it really, because for them that's their best way for them. If they have to start thinking about the process, you're done. Certainly in the big moments, there'll be a long time before they're going to be.
Just to chuck my thoughts in on that, there's two ways. I think to answer that thing about the person, if they're about their repeatability. I think the way I look at it is, yes, if someone comes to you and says, right, I want to improve, the first thing I do is look at what they do, and then understand where they're playing, where they're competing, and then ask them where they want to compete. And then I'll make a judgment call on whether I think what they currently do can get them there if we just make what they do better and get them to be able to repeat it more often and in maybe more stressful, for want of a better word, environments, when they're put under more mental pressures in terms of, it's harder competition, or it's different, harder patterns, different players, all of those sort of things, and decide, well, actually, when it comes down to it, we are a physical execution sport that first and foremost has to operate well enough in the level you want to play at. So I look at that first, and then in terms of EBF and all the other knowledge, USBC and whatever else I've picked up from, a lot of stuff I've picked up from Andy. Can't thank Andy enough for the time we spent together.
No, that was good.
Well, not all of it.
No. We did okay. We did okay as a team, didn't we?
We did do okay. And then when you start to work, when I will then start to work with someone, I will go to EBF, will be my first port of call. And if for whatever reason that's not necessarily going to work, based on that first judgment of where do they want to be and how does that function, then I might need to bring in other ideas or thoughts or ways of doing something. Nice. That's generally how
pretty much that would be it. Yeah,
I love things.
Well, thank you very much.
That's exactly it. Yeah. What he said.
Yeah. So Andy, as a coach, what's your most memorable moment?
It's too easy, that one. It absolutely is the World Championships 2003, where Kirsten and Zara win the gold medal in the doubles, and to actually be a father and a coach on the podium at the same time. I don't believe anybody else has done it at World Championship level. To actually stand on the podium with their daughter, son, husband, whatever. So that it's yeah, I mean, bowling wise, the best day of my life, absolutely.
Have you got any photos from that day that you can share with us that we can put?
Oh,
here?
no, I haven't actually.
I'll
I'm
find
the
some.
worst person for
Yeah.
commemorating things. I remember again, Chris Buck saying, when things were out in Malaysia, he was collecting newspaper clippings and stuff like that, and I never did, and I regret it now because it was. Bowling then, at that time, in Malaysia, is like football is now here. And, it's just everywhere. And, it would have been nice to, obtain some stuff then. I really didn't. And even during the event, it was so funny because Zara, she used to look to the side. When she played a shot, she just used to look to the side. It was just a characteristic that she did. But when you see it, it looks like she's looking at Deandra, because we were basically competing against Deandra. She had an amazing block, but Kirsten beat her by a few pins. But anyway, she had 1400 anyway. So but it just looked like it was like a head-to-head, and Zara was looking over at Deandra, and basically it looked like she was saying, "Right, beat that," because they were striking for fun. Yeah. It was just unbelievable amount of striking. If you watched that from afar, it just looked like they were head-to-head competing, and I'd have to say it now, if Deandra could spare, we might not have won that gold medal. She's been a better at sparing than she was, bless her. She could strike for fun, but some of her corner pin shots, she didn't get. So that one is definitely my absolute
standout.
Standout.
Oh,
I can't. I mean, and we had some great times. We won medals and. 2019, in
Vienna.
Yeah, Vienna, that was crazy, absolutely crazy. You couldn't even hear yourself think in that cauldron.
Yeah, what a centre that is.
Yeah.
And we experienced it a few years later as well. Yeah, what a brilliant place that is.
Yeah. Amazing.
And even Haley and Mark had a great time in Vienna as well. That centre seems to do quite well for us, doesn't it?
I think England does all right in Vienna.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It is an amazing place. Yeah.
No pressure on the Grand Seniors in January then.
No, exactly. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go and watch that. Actually, I will definitely go and see that. Yeah.
I've only got one more question for you, Andy.
Okay.
And it's a biggie.
Oh, okay.
It's a biggie. Obviously, you've been involved in youth bowling for a long, long time. What do you think about the state of youth bowling at the moment?
Worldwide or in the UK?
In the UK.
The numbers just aren't there. That's the problem. I think we just need. I'd have to say I've spoken to Basher, and he's elevation to the the exec committee and whatever he's doing with membership services. For the first time in 15 years, somebody involved with membership services is actually trying to get new members. Doing something to get new members. We experienced that when we were there. Just the recruitment. That's what we need to. I'll have a sideways look over there, but definitely, it is about getting new bowlers. We've fallen so far behind to other sports, and we offer so much that other sports can't offer. And it still is from even. Well,
sorry, something, and this might something somebody said to me at the weekend was that the BTBA might need to sort of use their tagline or something. How did he put it? Join bowling because you'll make friends for life, or words to that effect.
Yes,
because ultimately we are one of those sports where we spend a lot of time not doing the sport, and actually we're a very, very social game.
Exactly. Yeah.
And actually, you think about all the things. Everything you've been talking about is you mentioned friends that you make, and everyone talks about when we talk to Jeff about how long he's been in the game. It's all about the friends that you make and the fact that you still know these people now. And perhaps we need to focus on that aspect a bit more in our marketing.
Competitive socialising in the 90s was bowling as a sport, right?
Yeah.
Competitive socialising now is something very different to the sport element of bowling. So competitive socialising with an actual purpose rather than just beating your mates. Be an interesting little.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the thing.
How do we entwine the two,
exactly.
which are very clearly separate at the moment?
I think they always have been, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
I remember sitting on a plane when I was going back and forth to Florida with the USBC doing the silver level back then, and there was a guy. I was on a laptop doing some work, and a guy said, "Oh, I can't help looking over your shoulder." He was a reporter for Golf Digest, or one of the big golf. And he said, "I can see you doing stuff on bowling." He said, "You guys have got it made." And I, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Because you've got the leisure side of bowling, you've got a ready-made pool of players that you can go to. We have to try much harder, and the elitist look of golf, even then, was it's very difficult for us to recruit people. And you guys, they're in there. Surely it must be so easy for you to just walk over there, and convert people from the leisure side to the sports side, which has always been the difficulty.
Yeah.
But it's still there even now. You just realise that there is that pool to aim at.
Do you think maybe that's the reason we don't get the people?
I was just going to say,
is because actually everyone thinks it's just naturally going to happen.
Yeah.
And it has always naturally happened. So why do we have to do anything? But actually,
we do.
We
do.
do.
We're even more. Yeah. I thought you were going to say, it's the double-edged sword. It's the reason, they're there, and we should be able to get them. But why aren't we getting them? That's the key. We need to have a recruitment program.
And I think Bash is the man for the job.
I think he is.
Absolutely.
There's definitely people. He's.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
a good guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. In that respect, you can't, and that's the volunteer network that we're talking about as well.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you one question to make you think, because, as someone who's been around the game and around the world of bowling for a long, long time, and, lots of changes have happened. If you could wave a magic wand or something, what would be the one improvement or change that you would make to the game?
Or the one change that you would prevent from changing the game?
Well, that's put a different slant on it.
Wow.
So maybe it's a case of, would you go back to when it was like this, or do you think we need to get it to be like this, or something?
We're never going to go back.
No.
We are. And, there is the perfect solution to the oiling situation is probably what they do in Team Masters, is probably light oil and very weak balls.
Yeah.
Never going to happen. I'm sorry, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
The industry won't let it go that way. The reality that we're at with urethane and purple, I'd have to mention Rick Benoit, because we've spoken about geniuses along the way that I've met and bowled, and he's definitely one. And 15 years ago, he's made a statement to me.
For people who are watching it, Bowl U.
Yeah, Bowl U. Yeah. I've certainly learnt a lot from there as well. I'd have to give him credit there. He said to me that, and it was just the wording they used, the closer your ball sets up to the foul line, the closer your ball sets up to the foul line, the more chance you've got of it being repeatable. And you're thinking, then 15 years ago, well, you wanted to go 50 foot and turn left as a right-hander. No, you don't. And that's what has happened. Urethane has done that, sets up earlier than any other ball, and is more consistent than anything else. I don't know where we go from that. I'm sorry, but if we're thinking that putting more oil down on a lane, there's going to be a point in time where there's too much oil that instead of making the ball skid, it'll slow it down. It'll aquaplane and stop, and it'll turn earlier. I don't know where we go. So, what would I like to see? There's never going to be. You cannot not. Oil will still travel down the lane. It just has to, with the volumes that it is and the materials we use. Wave a magic wand, okay, no carry down.
No
transfer.
Like
That's, and it's never going to happen. So we just have to find a way to deal with it. And I'd have to take a long time to try but I would I can't say that because you can't say, oh, we don't want the development of lane machines and lane oil and dressing, because we wouldn't have got some of the things that we've seen over the years. They just wouldn't have happened.
You never get the consistency.
No, exactly. That's right. So, you know, it is, again, it's a double-edged sword. If it was waving a magic wand, it would stop oil travelling down the... No, it's just not going to happen, is it? I'd have to take a bit longer to answer that one. There isn't.
Well, we are going to have to wrap up reasonably soon, and I just wanted to touch on the fact, you know, we sort of lightly touched on your pro shop. Out of all of the years that you've been drilling bowling balls, which one is your favourite?
Years?
Yeah. Which is the ball that you've just gone, do you know what, that is bloody phenomenal?
Well, you can't get beyond. I mean, okay, so... And it would have been... I've been lucky enough to see all the changes. You know, when I first got in, it was rubber and plastic, and then urethane came along, and the outcry for it's ruining the game. And then, you know, well, even before that, the soft plastic with the yellow dot, it's ruining the game. Urethane, it's ruining the game. Don't get me started on reactives. You know, when they came in, and you know, 92, Excalibur, exactly. And then everything since then, and then early 2000s, we go backwards to, you'd have to say the Koreans, 2008 got the, you know, urethane with all the old urethanes balls back at the World Championships there. Gone full circle, now we're back to urethane. It's ruining the game. I mean, the trouble is that things are so immediate now anyway. That's the point. Everything has to be done now. We have to get it right now. We can't wait. Everything has to be done. So, the urethane, it's not going to go. It's not going to go anywhere, I'm afraid, people. I'm sorry, it isn't as much as you'd like to. The only way,
so pick a ball.
It's a bigger ball.
Well,
best ball you ever think's been made.
Yeah.
Overall.
Okay, so when the Phantoms were first one, I can't pick one. Okay, so I mean, my favourite at the time was the Black U-Dot, which is the cover stock that's, you know, the pitch black is made from. Blue Hammer coming in was amazing. Excalibur. I mean, my own personal ones that I did my stuff with was the Purple Rhino Pro and the Teal Rhino Pro. Amazingly, that for me. There isn't going to be one. And I mean, if you do force me now, then it has to be the Purple Hammer, because we've had what everybody wanted pretty much, where everybody wanted, right, let's all have one ball. We all have one ball, and everybody's going to bowl with one ball, and then all the skill levels will come back. So that happened. You had it, Purple Hammer. That's exactly what you had. And then it's still not. Well, you know, those people that won must have had added something else. If we've all got the same ball, then those people that have won must have had something else that's different to the other people. They must have had some skill, some physical skills.
Exactly.
So,
that's
on
that note, still legal.
Andy,
still legal.
Andy, thank you so much for coming to join us today.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Andy. Pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching. This is No Strings Attached. Subscribe to our channel, and I think this one's going to be a two-parter. We're going to have to split it up. But thanks for watching. Much love. See you later.
Thank you very much.
Woohoo. Nice one, Andy. Thank you.
No worries.
Hey.